I want to introduce to everyone. We call him, there's a nickname that we call him that I'm sure that you don't know. We used to say MD Mandika. The great, we say MD Mandika. MD is still my MD anyways. I was once a staff of Alogen and he's still my MD. I want to welcome to the studio, to Aderoke live show, the business strategist, the man behind the wheels of security expertise professionals in Nigeria, one of the top leading security companies in Nigeria, Alogen Group, Mr. Wale Olaoye. We call him Mike Delta. For those that are in security, they will understand the meaning of that. It's a deep word, and if you're in security, you will know what that means. Welcome to this very friendly, amazing. MD is very friendly. MD, if he doesn't even know your name, he will definitely know your face. As much as we were, in Alogen, MD knows everyone facially. Yes, and if you are one person that you're a marketer, trust me, he will know you. If you're in sales, business is very key for MD. So if you're in sales, he definitely will. Welcome with me, Mr. Wale Olaoye, the group MD Alogen Security, the MD Alogen Group. Welcome. Good evening, sir. Welcome to Aderoke live show. So good to have you. I am honored and I'm privileged to have you, in my show as a guest. It's a big deal for me, sir.
Whoa.
Welcome.
Thank you. Okay, it's a pleasure to be here. I always knew you go on to do this. I listen you go on to these kind of things. After writing your books, after writing a few books while working with Halogen, little wonder you're doing this, and I'm glad to be here. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
It says Oaloye. It's supposed to allow you. I think O is missing there.
Oh, okay. I think it's the spelling. We will edit it.
Okay.
Yes, we can edit it. Yes, we will edit it. It's the spelling there. Yes, we will edit it. Yes, sir. Right. So good to have you. So good to have you. Let me start from the gist that we know, we are familiar with, that I'm sure a whole lot of people will be wondering who is, because like I was explaining to my husband, and that beyond the professionalism, beyond all that a lot of people would like to know the fun part, of MD, of Mr. Wale. What are the things he loves to do? I said, number one, I know that he loves fashion. Number two, wow. I know he loves gadgets. He loves gadgets. He talks about it. He loves technology, anything to enhance productivity. He's ready to go all the way. Let's start from that, sir. How did you get to love fashion? How did you get to love technology? Is it from childhood? Is there someone that you see do this a lot that you like, you wanted to be like? What happened?
What? Well, I'm surprised that to hear the fashion side. All I just liked was just to dress well and dress simply. Particularly, honestly, just to not to impress anybody, but to feel comfortable in my skin and wear what I like and wear what I'm comfortable in. But I want to be perhaps somewhere in secondary school, and those days when you travel, if we went for a little spot at summer. With our little money, so I learned to be prudent with money. So I deliberately look for sales when it happens. I'm thinking of the very early 80s when you have little money to travel, you keep a little money and look for good things that are cheap. So that's how I started. So that's how I think I just got my dress sense. I just try to wear something comfortable that I think is nice and maybe for less as well. So that's basically what that is. It's not that I'm concerned about what I put on, but I just like to be comfortable in what I put on and emerge smart. And as I began to grow up, I began to understand that your looks also count. The way you present yourself also. So I just try to look good and just look smart. That's just to dress well. That's all. As for the gadgets, when I was growing up, there was no technology. Technology was not what it is today. So, but I just enjoy having whatever make my life easier or easy. I get. So we say gadgets. Yes, I like gadgets. I like devices that help my living. Devices that help me to do things with ease. So you can, to an extent, you can say yes. That's how I just come to like gadgets. And I buy anything that I see, any guys I see that makes life comfortable, I buy it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's now. Thank you for explaining that. Let's go back to your growing up days. Is it what you've always wanted to do? Is security what you've always loved, or life happened, or what was it like for you growing up?
Wow, like that's two questions. Growing up, security, but not for once.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought I would end up in the business of risk and security? It was
Mm,
never on the card. It was never a plan. It was never a thing I've ever thought about. I never imagined it. Growing up, well, maybe the influence I have growing up, the two things that influenced me the most growing up were my father used to work in. When I started becoming conscious, my father of living was in the early 70s. After the war, I believe, my father was into construction. So I think it was post-war. After the war, he was very active in building in construction industry. So he was involved in building mostly schools. So he was a contractor. I
mm,
think Minister of Education and the government. So we found that my father he used to travel a lot. So he worked at he moved around a lot. And so in doing that, he moved me around with him a lot as well. So growing up, I went to about 4 different primary schools. You can imagine that for a child.
wow.
So it meant that
Wow. Yeah.
I got to know Nigeria as a young man at a very, very early age. I went to school in Jos at some point when it was in his construction days. I went to school in Bida in Niger State. You can imagine when I was building the Federal Government Girls College. I went to school.
Mm.
I went to school in Sokoto. I went to school in some village called Akwanga in now.
Adakwanga,
So
Nasarawa. I served there. I served near there.
really,
Yeah.
so you can imagine
Yeah.
a young boy traveling a lot with his father, and because he always took us or took me with him. So I changed schools quite often. But the beauty of it is that I got to know Nigeria very early as a child. I got to learn, a lot of see Nigeria from. I got to learn language and languages different from Yoruba and English, and I got
English.
to
Yeah.
books, culture, and learn to respect people in where they are very early. So that was
Mm.
a massive influence on my life. Then to mix that up, my mom was a consummate businesswoman. I
Woman.
always knew to always had she was a distributor or to quite a few of the companies, GB Olivans, Nestle, all those companies at that time. She always had
Mm.
big stores selling, being agents to many companies selling different things, from record store to having a fleet of. I knew my mother as a woman that she was one of the first women when I knew that had a fleet of buses in the 70s.
Wow.
She had
Wow.
when they had Diana, she had a lot of buses, fleet of buses. She had so I was in the midst of business a business family. My mom was
Family.
she was
Mm.
unbelievable, and God help you because she got me involved early also in understanding the way money works. So she always made me count her
Mm.
money, always a lot of cash. So those days I learned to count money very, very, very early. So and
Mm.
when you count 10 naira notes in tens and you join them together and you begin
Mm.
to have. I learned that very early from my mom. So I think
Yeah.
um, those two things, I think, made a great influence on my life. So maybe to look at to simplify the way I live and the way I also relate to people, and
Mm.
maybe to also learn to respect people for who they are and wherever I find them to do. So I'm comfortable anywhere in Nigeria today. Anywhere I get to, I'm comfortable. Um,
Mm.
Now crown that up, and I went to a federal government college, federal government college, Sokoto. Now those days, federal colleges were many of us were from the south, but yet we
Yeah.
found that there was no difference between us. We related with ease from everybody from every part of Nigeria. So
Mm.
I had friends from Enugu, from Newi, from Port Harcourt, from Calabar, from Sokoto, from Zafara, from Niger State. Now, all those, and the good thing is that most of those the friendships we built then have remained till today, thanks to Facebook and all these social media things today. So it makes, I mean, very early, those things influence my life. So now to answer your question, as for security, I never thought about it. Who will ever tell you? Look, let me tell you a story. When FGC
Yes, sir.
then in my when we I was doing lower six. So I
Okay.
now like to form for Nigerian Defense Academy because all my friends
Mm.
were collecting forms for Defense Academy. So I took the form for Defense Academy. I brought it home. I told my mom that I was going to enroll, and they had to sign the form that they will release me to go to the NDA. Whatever happened to me, they will actually go to indemnify the army, the military. She told me that never will a child, if I ever, the form said, let me send the form to her. I brought the form to her. I didn't know she wanted to destroy the form. I brought it that she wanted to sign. She tore the form and said, never in my life should I attempt to go to the military. No child of God will join the military. So that's how I ended up in University of Ife. Now, I was in Faculty of Environmental Design and Management. So ultimately, I was to be an essay surveyor. That was what was clear on the card, to be an essay surveyor. So so to answer the question directly, I never planned to
do
be
security
in this business. So it was never planned.
But so life happened.
Absolutely, and we can tell that story later how that happened. So the question, yes, that's how so security I wasn't planned for.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I like the fact that you though as a child it could have been very strenuous that you had to change school 4 times. That's big for a child, 4 times. But it seems your childhood, primary, secondary was mostly in the north. And I'm sure you can speak Hausa very well. I know you can speak Hausa.
Lagos too, and Ibadan as well. So yes, I speak Hausa fluently, and I have so many friends from the north. I come well in Hausa language as well.
Can you just say hello to them in Hausa? Just say hello. How are you doing? How about stay safe, stay at home if you don't have anything to do outside. Let's take you a little further. That's fantastic. Thank you, sir. This is one language I really want to learn, and I heard it's very simple to learn. I actually served in the north in Nasarawa for a year, but I don't think I have they say there's a year for languages. Maybe I don't have the years for language, but it's always sweet when I hear people speak it. It's very fantastic. It's a very friendly language. It's a beautiful language.
And you have to be willing to learn it also, because when I was in secondary school, we couldn't speak vernacular in school, but I was tenacious, and I had friends they must speak it to me, and it's an easy language, very easy language to learn.
So that's that. Thank you for sharing that part with us. So in your journey with this, your versatility, knowing different parts of Nigeria, meeting different people, definitely it has shown you some perception, about life. Share with us that when you left secondary school, you went to University of Ife, coming out of the university, starting a life as a young man, and all through that path, what were the things that helped you discover yourself? You read estate surveyor. So what led you into security? What were the things that you were able to say, okay, this is who I am? What were the things that helped you to know who you are as a person?
The most important thing in all of these things, let me say first and foremost, is you must have a humble opinion of yourself. That is very important. You must have a humble opinion of yourself. When I left school, look, like every young man in my generation, I left school. I went to England after my youth service. I went to England after my youth service, and the decision then was to stay back in England, get a job, and also perhaps do a master's in fact I had an admission to University of Chicago to do an MBA there immediately after. But I was in England, just went. My mom and my aunt, God bless her, God bless their souls.
Amen.
Said, look, I came back and I said, look, you need to come and at least you read estate management. Come and qualify first. Do your qualifying exams before you go anywhere. So I fell for debate. And I came back. And before I came back, they got me a job at Ceo-Halogen & Co. Then it was the premium estate management company in Nigeria. Then very, very themselves and not Frank and Rodney. So I started job as a surveyor in Ceo-Halogen & Co. That's how I started my career. I tried to write my qualifying exams to be a chartered surveyor. Soon into that, I found a job. There was an opportunity for me to run a young estate company right from Ceo-Halogen & Co. So I was offered the opportunity. I ran the business as a 25 at 25 or 26. I was already general manager
Wow.
of the company. So
Oh.
you can imagine the opportunity, the exposure. So
Yes, I can imagine.
I had an official car. Before you knew it, I had two official cars. I quickly I moved out of the house and I started living alone as into a 4-bedroom clean house as a young man. So of course,
Wow.
what everybody did. You in the evenings after work, you go to the lag and begin to harass small girls to things. And but my mom was very she had a massive influence on me, and I had a girlfriend then. I had a girlfriend then. She saw that, look, this young man just settle quickly, and you need to. Because she saw the way I was going, that I was already, I was in money early, and I began to do what boys do. So I married early. So I married my. So I started life very quickly, but soon after that happened, I changed jobs, and that was when the financial crisis started. Then because I invested in the market and it was owned by finance house, you know, all those things that happened in the late 80s and early 90s. So before you knew it, it became that challenge, that the challenge of life happened to me at that time. And that was the first challenge I was going to face, because I was never, and everything had been smooth sailing. So at that time, you needed to begin to negotiate with people that you took money from to return money for USA company to finance. So that business went belly up with the guys that ran the business. So my first adversity stared me in the face, because adversity is part of life, and that was the first time that I came into adversity. So that period was tough. Suddenly you used to have money, you used to have things, you used to have driver as a very young guy, you had a very beautiful house, you had 2 cars as a young man, and all that life became a bit difficult. So I left. I started a job with I picked up a job with Albion Construction. It was one of the Italian construction companies in Nigeria at that time, and I was the first. The guys that built national guys that were this in Carpenter Battle. They set up a business and very huge construction company, Albion. So I became the project and logistics coordinator. That was my bailout to begin to ease my way back to, and what brought me into logistics. I began to understand project management from that perspective and how to run projects. And while I was that, I left that job to so an opportunity came my way soon after. Albion started having their own challenges of ownership, tussle, all those things, and I faced another obstacle to navigate that challenge. So, but those times, I mean, you can imagine starting from earning a lot of money, then
very well.
So I had to move from a 4-bedroom whole house into a big 2-bedroom flat in somewhere in Apapa, to scale down my living. And even though I had a very small family, you can imagine my family was very young. They were a very young family at that time, and I had to learn to adjust and to scale into that. Now, one was trying to try so many things. I had my friend and who started a company that was into. He was at the port then. We started a company that was going to be into shipping and freight. While I was also trying to get other things done. As I was doing that, I tried to struggle to juggle things to work. I ran into an opportunity with a reference. Let me say this, which was a turning point in my. I met some gentleman and a British fellow met up with me and said someone gave them my number in Canada, and that if they went to acquire a company in Nigeria then, and they said because I'm a surveyor, I should help them do the valuation of their assets of the investment. So they wanted me to. So I got to work. I got to do the job for them. You can imagine someone I never said. Someone just referred that was fine. So during this whole period, when during these days of this struggle, I met I met Christ. I became a Christian. You'd be surprised to know that I was born a Muslim. So my middle name is Saeed. So
Yes, yes.
I met Christ, and it was the most peaceful experience I experienced in my life, because when that issue came, I mean, so I did the job for them. I did the work for them, and we started I did the job for them. Nothing. So they put a lot of money in my pocket at that time, because that job was significant. It changed a lot of things for me. And so I did the job for them. And when I finished, look, we saw the way you worked, and it appears that, look, we want to acquire this Nigerian company. We have not hired anybody to run this company, but we think the way you work, the way we see you do your thing, you can run this business. I said, come on, I'm not, my experience in logistics is not,
The same.
it's not the same with what you want me to. I said, no, he said, no, it's not. He said, just like work. Now, look, I think about it. And the next thing I knew, I was in Dubai training, and from Dubai, I went to Amsterdam. It took me to Amsterdam, did some training, and voila, I became I joined TNT International at that
Oh,
time.
fantastic.
That's how I joined
Thank
TNT,
God.
and so I began a fresh new career in a different
All over
domain.
again. Yes.
So while we're trying to do that, that was suddenly when BP was set up, when they went to begin to do privatization of Nitel and of NIPOS and do so. So we had a strategy. I was to help them. I was to run. So I ran a very interesting strategy for them out of Amsterdam to try to acquire Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOS. So we began to do lots of work. So I did a groundbreaking project, which was for that company, for our company to take over the running of the EMS shipments out of Nigeria for the post. And it was the first time a private company was going to be involved to do that. And it was a groundbreaking project. And I did that. And it was to mark the beginning of the group company was called TPG, TNT Post Group. They're the owners of TNT Express, TNT Mail. So the mail division was, so I basically set up logistics business in Lekki at those days. That's the express business with a company called IAS that we acquired. Then we worked heavily on the EMS project with a view to prepare the company to take over to acquire NIPOS. He was going to acquire at that time. Of course, all this, it didn't work out because the original thing didn't work because Nitel failed, and then they lost interest in. So, so I was with TPG for a while, and after a while, when that project failed, I left the company to set up a logistics and distribution consulting with a friend of mine. We had an opportunity to do something for the World Bank Global Fund, where the distribution of drugs, of anti-malaria drugs for AIDS across West Africa. So I worked with we did some work with SFH and Global Fund to design part of the distribution of these drugs in West Africa. So that got me. I was doing that when the opportunity came for me to open up in Halogen, which was strange. You can see that. So that was I wasn't. So that's you can see that I wasn't a security man. I'm only and also so we entered into discussion to engagement with Halogen. Then today give opportunity to run the business and also to acquire shares in the company as well as the shareholder and also as the manager of the business. So that was how the opportunity for Halogen came. So the mandate was what I was seeing of Halogen then was, look, it was a man guarding company, but because of what I know of logistics and resourcing and technology, especially from fleet and GPRS, the things I did, I understood quickly that look, there's a lot of value in what that can become. So we shared the very simple plan with the board, and we had the plan to take the business through a cycle of having capabilities from just not being an outsourcing company alone, but a business that transcends that different value chain of security. So and luckily that was when telco was also telco was now beginning to also come to foreign area. So is to, because don't forget that Halogen did a lot of work with
Yes.
MTN and Airtel when they came to Nigeria. So most of the work that we did,
Yes.
putting up masts in the bushes, we provided support for that. So soon after that,
Yeah.
GPRS came to the fore, meaning that you can now do positioning and GPRS that enables you to do other things in area of asset management. So that created opportunities for us to quickly, rapidly expand the business, take opportunities to technology capabilities, grow experience in our devices, in technology, in travel and risk, and all the things that you came to run. When you came to run from Geotab to travel
Yes.
security.
Yes.
So that's how I came into security and how we came to also
Thank
try to
you. That's
find.
I'm grateful you shared your early moments, your early, like they call it the valley and the mountain. It was like a slide down. You came up again, was stagnant at a while, then it came up again. That's fantastic. I'm so grateful, sir. Thank you for sharing that key part. And those are the stories we would like to hear, on this show. Like we always say on the show, that the day you wake up to your dreams is your morning, regardless of the age or the time or the location that you are. And I like the fact that you knew there were challenges. You acknowledged them. You didn't shift them on people, and you came to a very vital point, which I love, which you mentioned, is that you came to the knowledge of Christ. You know,
Absolutely.
through even this journey, you came to the knowledge of Christ, and that's amazing. That's the best that can happen. And of course, you also went further to do well. Like somebody posted it too. Dr. Ebenezer posted that when faithfulness in the little in other people's projects will attract bigger things. They saw you doing something fantastic, even though they knew you didn't have experience for it. They called you to get something bigger. So whatever your hands find doing, do it well. Thank you for sharing that key point, sir. That's awesome. You mentioned a part that before the TN&T opportunity came, you were doing a project with your friend. You had a business partner. So
Yes.
share with us how, because in this your journey, you have been leading and leading. Now you are going to share, with someone. How was
Yeah.
it for you?
Listen, the transition phase when the job at Legend stopped. That was the property development company and finance and mortgage company. When that era, the trouble that came with that period, when I said was my first experience of adversity, between that and when TNT happened, it was a life-changing experience for me. Listen,
Mm,
quite a few friends also backpedaled when they saw that,
mm,
look, this is the guy that used to have a lot of flow of money.
mm,
Now, that was no more the case. Secondly, because I'd also come into Christ, it means the
mm,
things I used to do before, I couldn't do them anymore. The places I used to
mm.
go, I could do no more.
It's good
And
anymore.
to count that up, they saw me as, look, this guy appears to be suffering a bit. So it it created a distance between me and some, I call them fair weather friends, who
Mm,
perhaps our lifestyle no longer the same. It was challenging and tough. Some days you
mm.
go some days you go without money in your pocket. You know what that means? A time when you can, where
Yes.
so you are operating at this level, and suddenly you find yourself at a level where you're struggling to even survive. So it
Mm,
it was. I thank God that experience happened early in my life, because um, it now it made me to begin to understand how to despise all vanities.
mm,
So
mm,
second, to learn that, look, which is the principle of which I build my life. And I'll say this, that it is actually not by power, not by might. There's something that you
mm,
must believe. There's you must put prudence to action, and also learning obedience and subjection.
mm,
And it comes contentment. I'm saying this very serious, with all seriousness. And to anyone that knows me, I mean, that you just must keep life humble. You must just keep your feet on the ground,
mm.
because those experiences have taught you that, look, nothing is permanent in life. Two,
True.
and
True.
and I call it, if I were to also, I say, look, it's time and chance will
Mm,
happen to them. So when my
true.
chance came, in between every adversity, time, as long as you have life, time will happen to
Yeah,
you. Then chance will
true.
also. So
Happen.
and in all of that, I believe that, look, the change opportunity that came, I never solicited for it. It
Mm,
just came. Even by the time I was going to do the Halogen project, it was really really not solicited, as it were.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
at every phase, God has put himself faithful to just make it happen. But you see, the first thing is preparation was always
Be there.
there to
Hmm.
meet the
I like
that came
that.
my way.
I like that.
And I've learned quite a few things throughout all that experience. Um,
Mm.
how to understand, how to avoid idle talk, how to acquire
Mm.
and zeal for perfection for my life. So
Mm.
those a few of my colleagues that work with me understand that we keep saying that we must be relentless, we must pursue excellence relentlessly as a
Yeah.
passion, and that is that look, your satisfaction in things that you do. Fine, you must
Mm.
keep aiming and aiming, and it must be unending the way you your quest for
Mm.
excellence and the things that are for the good of all that we pursue.
Mm.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I'm grateful for that. Thank you for those insights. I like the word preparation. It is something a lot of people don't have the patience for. We want the success now. We want the glory now. We want the fame now. But like you said, time and chance happens to them all. There's a point of time and there's a point of chance. So you might see my time and chance now, but you don't know that I've gone through preparation. Thank you. Thank you for that insight. Let me share. Okay, there's a question. I think I will join. I like the question as well. I'll share it. It says, now let me trace so that it can help you with your answer. No, you've been working for people, maybe the companies have a number, maybe like 50, they're about 100, maybe that's the highest, I'm not sure, but I think that should be the range. Now, the opportunity now came for Halogen. Halogen is an household name when it comes to security. Halogen is known everywhere. Everybody wants to partner with Halogen Security in the area of risk management and all that. Now you're coming to lead an handful set of people. You are not a security expert. You're coming into a business that people have been there for years. They're security experts. I like this question that Lucky, shout out to Lucky, correct guy.
absolutely.
Lucky was one that gave me some tips on how to get you on board. Thank you, Lucky. So Lucky asked this question: what are the challenges of being a great leader? Not just a great leader, but a leader, to lead people that you are not in, so-called, in quotes, you have not been in their comfort zone. You are coming from a different terrain to lead them. How has it been for you?
Okay. See, the most important thing about any human being, not just a leader, is
Mm.
what I call the interior life.
Mm.
What is your interior life? And your interior life is really, that is you. And you see, you cannot cover. Said my grandma used to say something in Yoruba that, look, ifiniwa, meaning,
Ben.
look, you cannot hide who you are for too long.
Mm.
After,
True. True.
but I've to help me to answer that question, I think I've learned, look, interior life, which is your self leadership, is
Mm.
ultimately found that very, very important. And that's why I told you in research, look, once you have a humble opinion of yourself and you know the strength that you have, you know your
Mm.
weaknesses as a person, you know the things the things that challenge your life. So you know your limitations as a human being. So there's this practice that I learned very early, is to really have you now find it. There's no day will pass that will never have my own, what I call my own quiet moment.
Mm.
I'm always silent. I've learned silence. Every hour a day I'm silent. And what that has done for me for years is that it has helped me to connect with my inner peace and to learn to adjust with my experience of life, of how I've worked with people, of how I live with people, to also work with people. No matter how or who you are, we can relate, as long as I show respect to you. I
Mm.
respect everybody that come across. I'm seeing this also of humility. So that has given me, look, there's no way I'll not be able to relate. Then, if of course I will offend you. So, and you're right to answer your question. When I came to when this whole journey started with, look, I'm coming to this industry where I was not a hardcore core security person at the beginning. What was clear was that, one, I was clear in my understanding of the direction of the business and where I thought it should be headed. So I spent a lot of time to reimagine what it could be. But I was also not deluded by assuming I know all I know it. So where I had limitations, it was not my industry I was used to. It was not so. I was humble and open to engage my subordinates and all my colleagues in the business, understand where that line was. But the most important thing was that I had a business to manage and to run, and I have a clear view of how this is how I saw it. So sharing my vision was I think I remember my very first engagement with leadership was to share my vision of the business, and it was a humble heart and to also have a way to open up. Look, in these areas, I'm willing to learn here, but at a strategic level, this is what I see, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is how I want to run this business. So the humility of spirit was important. Then the purity of my mind and the unity of my purpose. Once your thoughts are pure once your thoughts are true from the inside and it's pure, so it gives you everybody know that you're coming from a very simple and open perspective. So it wasn't difficult. Once that was it, then it was clear that it was easy for everybody to buy into what we're trying to do. Even though there were a few skeptics who kept saying, "How will he do it?" So I knew quite a few of them were waiting to see what happened. And in fairness, quite a few of them actually were both to come to me. MD, this, initially I was looking at you and said, "This man, let's see how he's going to do it." That have you been doing this thing before? How the way you have led us and these things is amazing. I'm talking of the great Colonel Kadiri. God bless
Ah,
you.
yeah, God bless his memory. Yes.
No, he's still alive, but he came to, he said,
Okay.
he said, "Oga, I was watching, I'm watching. We were watching to see, okay, this man that is not an ex-colonel or ex-general, how he's going to work, how he's going to do this thing. And you've proved us this." He said, have you done this thing before? I said, "Look at this man." So it's all because it was always with everybody having their bit to do and respecting everybody's role in delivering on what you have set out for everybody to do. I think, to my mind, that was, as a leader, you must connect with your interior life.
Inner self. Yes,
To it.
I like that.
And must always engage one openly, true. They will know when they always know when you're not coming from, when you have when your motives are not right. So once your motives are right, you clear your communication, you're clear in your perception, you clear in what you see, and you clear your mind, then joy of good conscience will always speak. Because when you have conscience, there's always joy in good conscience. So when you do things in good conscience, and people see that, you can't cover it for too long. So when people begin to understand, you got to understand that this guy understands what he's talking about. He meant well, and he's not your journey with your kind of people along. Then it helps. So above all, when you love God above all things, I'm not saying it for religion. It's not religion, because religion is what is killing everybody. It's not religion. It is actually your way of life, connecting with
the relationship.
So apparently, the rest I attribute to the grace of God. And
Thank you. Thank you so much. I like the example you gave, which is very, very critical. The part that you must have an hour to yourself when you listen to your inner self. A leader must connect to his inner self, and you must be humble about yourself. That is very, very important. I like that. I like the fact that you have to be humble, see yourself in an humble way first. Connect to your inner self, because if you can't keep giving and not be able to, bring back and refill yourself, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I like the fact that you know that you can't know it all. You can't know it all. Yeah, that people that I have one or two things you can learn from. As a leader, it doesn't mean that you should know it all. It means that you pick from their knowledge, put them together, and get the results. Thank you so much for that. Let me ask now before. Let's say something.
Because this is very important. Listen, any leader that does not deliberately also want to make other leaders, I think it is something that every general leader must aim to do. And I didn't think that from my colleagues quite clearly, quite frankly, that we all of us must commit to making for the things that we do, aside from the business itself. And that is something I'm hoping that we will really keep advancing and make to work well. That's really any leader that works alone, that does not create opportunities to make other leaders, then you've killed the word and what it is to be a leader.
Thank you, sir. That's important too. To groom other leaders, to create other leaders, recreate. So a leader must be able to, bring to life another of his person. Keep doing it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you. So I was going to ask this question, like, in all this your journey. Okay, before I go, let me just finish the business angle, then we'll go back to your personal. I had a guest last week, the CEO of Landmark Africa Group, and it was really he shared with us, to just like you shared, the business angle, where they were, where they are, and about their plans. And you also shared with us your journey in Alogen and all that. He said during the COVID, it was, for the past 5 months, it was really, really difficult for them as a business. How was it been for Alogen as a business for the past 5 months?
One, the benefit of having good people. The most important thing is Alogen, we were very clear in our communication from the beginning, and we were able to quickly respond before everybody started talking of working from home. Our HR team and our PM team did a very good job of preparing the organization itself for that eventuality. Don't forget, we're a risk management business, we're a risk management group. Yeah. So they did a good job of preparing the people. So we created teams. We created a lot of teams that we're going to redefine how we worked, especially for our clients that we must service. Don't forget, to now crown it all, when the president made his announcement, the president said, classified our business as part of essential services. It meant that we have to keep going.
Keep working.
That difficult time. So our people were exposed. So how are we going to protect our own people first, who will protect those? So our HR did a great work of also trying to quickly put measures in place to protect our own people, ensuring they're able to get to their jobs. So we made alternative arrangements. We trained them on the issue of safety and all these things that they need to do to keep safe. We also now brought our clients on board, because you can imagine that during the lockdown, it meant that we had to feed thousands of people that will be in the same place for a long time. Quite some of them were taking time to. So for us, it was operationally challenging, but our team, our great people in our team, Halogen, rose up to that challenge. And you can imagine across the country, we're in every state in Nigeria. So it meant we had to keep our going at that time. So our people did a great work, great work. Very, very early, very, very early, prior to lockdown itself, because I expected lockdown was going to happen. So I commend our HR team, our project management office, our people in PSF. So by the time lockdown was going to start, we were ready, and even before the government announced rationing of staffing, because we're open for business. We already had a rostering system where the offices only had 30% people in the offices, but everybody was connected and live. It was that's a transition was easy, but on our clients, this is where the challenge was. I mean, where we understood that the economy was going to be hit and impacted, our people stepped up to keep our operations going, to ensure that we didn't have to let anybody go in our business. We didn't have to let anybody.
Please allow me, sir, to clap for that. Thank you, sir, for that. Thank you.
None of our people also will have said since the beginning of the COVID, our salaries have not been delayed one day. Our salaries have not been delayed for one day. But it's a result of the hard work of the teams that made sure that operations was going to go on. Even when we have clients that are struggling to function, we're quick to also recognize those industries, support them where we need to reduce, and to ensure that they're able to at least scale operations to at least keep us going. So we are thankful above all to our people, to the teams, different teams that kept that going. So it's a function of the commitment of the people in the business, and how far we've also been able to show good leadership for them to keep the pace going the way they are and to all the people in our
So
business. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. I like the fact that you can make both say you didn't lay any staff off.
no, no, was
That's
tough,
amazing.
but
Management, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, well, thank you. Well, thank you. And that shows that it wasn't bad for Alogen during COVID. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
no, it's still. I mean, we're still in it. It's tough,
Yeah, we're
but
still in it. Yes, still on.
to commit. Our people show a lot of commitment and resilience. Listen, it's not easy when you have in the midst of the lockdown, people leaving their homes because you're essential service. When everybody was at home, it is attributable to the people, the guys, the front lines, who
doing the job behind the scene.
they didn't go out to do those jobs. Those that were supporting technology devices, those that were
Yes.
traveling in lockdown, those that were in bits protecting people's assets.
Yes.
The
Locations
are static, or they need to travel under protection of the under the circumstance of the lockdown. It was every post. But so it's not attributable to the people's commitment, because if we didn't do that, there's no way we can keep operations going.
No way, so, no way, sir. No way.
And we also comment, because look, the police force also give us very good support, because they enabled that for us to also ensure we thrive. And so it's a salute to our people who did a great job of keeping it together.
Massive thank you to all Alogen staff. MD, the MD Alogen group is giving all big massive shout out to everyone behind the scene, the frontliners, those on the road, those in the techie unit, everyone making sure that your clients were well served and had their services satisfactorily. Well done to everyone. Massive shout out to you guys. And I joined the management to tell everyone, I know I have worked in Alogen for 8 years, so I know that Alogen has best of the best staff, very dedicated, committed. They work their heart out. They want to see the best at all times. Thank you, MD. Thank you for sharing that part. That's very critical. Tony was asking that similar question, that how was it been, during the COVID, and you just answered that it was the people. The people made it happen, and that's why you are still in business, and you continue to be in business in Jesus' name. Well done, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for the clarity, in sharing with us all the things that it entails to put all of this together. So share with us, sir. As we round off, we're rounding off now. Back to your personal life. You travel a lot. I know you travel a lot and all that. You travel almost every week. We had to even reschedule this online interview to today. It was supposed to be Thursday because you are due to travel to make another trip. How do you balance all of, because people keep asking women, how do women balance, family, work and all that? They forget that the men too have a life. They have a role to play in the home. So how do you, as a father, as an husband, as a friend, as a leader of a big, indigenous company, cope with all of this? You have meetings, worldwide meetings, online, calls and all that. How do you manage all of this together with your family?
Well, the most important thing is, like you said, I believe very strongly in the need to, life is run on, I used to have this phrase that you run on 5 gears. One, your relationship, your vertical relationship with God first. Once that is in place, there's a peace that comes with that, and everything else laterally also falls in place. So with God, once that is first, then second, your family, and thirdly, also family, meaning your immediate family, then third, your extended family as well. Then of course, the business that you do, what you put through your table. Then third, fourthly, your relationship with friends and society, and then how you impact all those areas must be well balanced. Now, in my case, I think my children, by grace of God, now at least they're all three
congrats, sir. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations.
So they are working, and funny they're not in the country. So that's why the travel that I do in the last 10 years, up to last year, I was traveling every other month to at least catch a moment and be. That was very, very, very. It's an investment I had to make, because to where they are, I need to make sure that happened. Now it's less, because they've all they're leaving home now, so they're sending on their. But in answering your question, how do I really make that balance? Really that's the 5 gears. But you see, the thing is, I also apply myself. Don't forget, I also lead. I try to lead. I try to work with people in not just halogen business alone, but on the side. I also lead. I also lead a of people that I also. So this takes your time and commitment as well. So it helps you to take your mind aside from the business. You do that in serving humanity that way. That also helps a good balance. Why? Because when you've done the hustle of the business side, it cannot be all that in balancing the 5 gears.
Yes.
So
True.
giving back to other people, your time, your resources, your intellect, also in adding to other people's spirituality. I do that.
Yes.
I lead a church I lead a church, but I lead
Yes.
Now, aside from that, also I have my friend and I. We have this foundation also, the Omodua Foundation, where we also commit to groom young entrepreneurs and also commit to developing some part of areas. I'm from Osun State, so we have this thing we're trying to do there, where we also begin to give back to society.
Thank you.
And number 3, I also mentor entrepreneurs in Lagos Business School. So quite a few young people in Lagos. I commit time to mentor people, young managers from point of view of the business school. So that way, I'm well spread. So my time is precious. So, and the thing is,
yes, sir.
when you reach the peace with yourself and try to reach and balance the other side of family, then of course humanity and what you do, because that's like things that keep for a meaningful and fruitful life. So that it's not just walk or me.
Me.
It has to be a balance of
All
those 5 gears. Yeah. So but at the time, one is we need to commit to, like I said, humanity. Our humanity needs, especially for a country like Nigeria. Look, we can imagine a lot of things to do, and through this area, want to find the balance around them.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And that is why I need to be extremely grateful. And I wish everyone can thank you for me for creating this time, because I know you are extremely busy, very, very busy. Like someone said, how did you get MD? Even though they knew I was a staff for many years, and because they know that you are extremely busy, and they kept asking that, how were you able to get him? And I said, I don't even know why MD agreed. I just said it, and MD agreed. And I was even trying to send a mail, make it official. I don't want to break protocols. But MD was like, go ahead, explain what you want to do. Explain. And when I got talking with Lucky was like, that's the way MD is. MD supports people's businesses. That if anything, you will share with him. And I'm grateful, because this is not the first time you are supporting me, sir. I had my book launch and you were there, and you gave your massive support as well. So I'm extremely grateful. I thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And let's just round off with this. I know you are in ministry, you pastor a redeemed church, and you run a business, not just any business, a massive, with over 2,000 staff.
20,000.
That's for admin. No, not even. I'm not even talking of the field workers. I know those ones are massive. That's pan Nigeria. Nigeria is 36 states. Pan Nigeria. We have guards all over, and we have admin staff. We have offices. I still use. Can you imagine? I'm still using we offices in Lagos. Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Ibadan, north east and all that. So I know it's huge for you to be here this evening. How do you relax, sir? How do you have fun? How do you catch your phone? I know, I know you try to read, but you've mentioned before that it's always difficult these days. But I know you read.
I'm a biker as well. So
yes, that's true. Thank you for saying that. I plan to say it, but I almost forgot. Thank you for saying that. Yes.
In my moments, once a week, very early in the mornings, I ride my bike to very far. I ride my bike very far, where I just catch. Aside from my me moments that I said, my silent moments, I ride my motorcycle very early in the mornings, very far, away from people, where it helps me clear my head, and I find that it makes me to relax tremendously. That's how I find my relaxation. And occasionally I watch one or two movies. So I relax with movies. I relax with my bike. is my relaxation mode. Once I
Don't you
ride,
get scared, sir? That bike scares me a whole lot. When I see it pass, I get scared. Don't you get scared?
so I
The
mean that's
sound
how I
is
relax.
scary.
No, it's not. I've been riding for years, so I'm not riding
And
to
that's
impress
that's
anybody.
the reason I told our team when we were discussing what team to tag you with in the advert, and I said MD takes risks. You're the risk taker, so your risk journey is just what we should perfect. Because I had the mind too of sharing that you ride bike. That I'm sure you're part of the association of bikers. I don't know what name they call it.
I ride with anybody. I ride with my friends. I ride
Right, the
alone. I
next.
enjoy ride.
That's fantastic. Good to know. For those who know, that's where MD has fun. Can you remember any movie you've watched? Can you remember anyone you've watched lately?
Lately,
Yeah, I'm trying to let people know that MD2 has fun.
yes. The latest movie I watched, last movie I watched.
Is it Nigerian or foreign?
I watch any good movie. What good any movie that is well put together.
That's
Um,
good.
I also but going to watch Nigerian movies. I watch Nigerian movies by producer. Any movie that Tunde Kelani or that gentleman that
Okay.
made October 1st. Any movie he does.
Oh, that's okay. Ade loves son.
Yes.
What's
Any
his
movie,
name?
any
Yeah,
innovation.
Apolayon.
Yes, any
Kunle
Afghan,
Kunle Apolayon. Kunle
any Afghan
Apolayon.
movies, any Kilani, any Kilani's movies.
Ah, that was our daddy.
I'll
Daddy
watch them.
Tunde
Yeah,
Kelani. That's our daddy.
I'll watch them.
That's
I
good.
just saw what was this movie now? The one Will Smith, Gemini Man.
Oh,
Yes, that's the last movie I
oh,
watched. Gemini.
that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good. That's a nice movie. That's a nice. Is
yeah.
there any music you like? What kind of music do you listen to? Good
I
jazz.
play jazz aficionado. Kenny G, Kenny
Yes,
G.
I know. I know. That's why I asked. I know because I've seen you. I know. I've seen you listen once or twice.
I love lots
To
of jazz.
such.
But this is also caught me with very good classic gospel music that is nice. I watch.
Fantastic.
So
Fantastic.
uh, I listen to. I'm a jazz fellow. I'm a jazz man. But very
Ah,
nice.
that's good. So if you want to get MD any
Very,
musical gifts, now you have an idea.
sorry.
I said anyone that wants to get you any gift, whether musical gifts, now they have an idea that it's jazz all the way.
Then
That's
and of course gospel, very nice gospel music
gospel music, yeah.
that is
Very
deep
key.
work. Any deep praise song
Soul
that is
lifting.
what? Yes, I listen to.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Wale. Thank you, sir. I'm so grateful. I'm honored. And let me say, they didn't hear us when we were discussing before we came live that MD, this is not the way MD used to look. Oh. COVID, COVID gave him a new look, with the beard. He usually doesn't keep beard. But now,
Well,
but it's fine, sir. It's cute. It's cute on you. It's fine. It's
it's like
fine. It's nice. Very nice. Thank you
my
so much.
go and remove it. That's go and remove that. That is making you look old. Go and remove it.
No, but old is not the new young. Even the younger
my,
ones want
my,
gray
my
beards
daughter,
everywhere.
my daughter said so that actually daddy is okay. Amongst them, the debating. One says it's very good. The other one says daddy go and remove it.
But I think it's fine because now the younger ones now everybody wants to be matured. Now 40 years old, 50 years old, before women don't even share their ages. Now they openly say it because you don't have anything. That's the truth, and you even look way younger than your age. MD is almost 60 people. He's almost 60, so don't let him deceive you with this thing.
Close
Thank
that to
you
50.
so much, sir. I'm grateful. Thank you for
Pleasure.
coming to the show. It's a big honor and a privilege. And everyone, please say a big thank you to Mr. Wale Olaoye for joining me on Adirunke Live Show. It's been a pleasure. Someone asked me to give you a shout out. She said she's your sister-in-law's sister or something. She said Sister Bimbo, that you are the in-law to what's that their son name? Is it Durosimi family or something? I'm not. She came
Okay.
online a few minutes ago. Okay, can remember them now. Okay, so she
Okay.
said I should say hello to you and everyone. Thank you so much to all Halogen staff. I'm grateful. Thank you, Lucky. And massive shout out to my husband. He actually was the one that said, I hope Mr. Wale Olaoye is on your list of guests. I said, why? He said, MD has a story to share. I think you should bring him on board. share with him when you leave a place, you don't burn bridges, you keep
Just
relationships,
for me, that,
you know. I don't know why he's not yet back. He went out. He's not back. He went out. He's not back. He will definitely say hello.
okay.
Thank
Say
you
hello
so
to
much. Thank you. Yes, I will, sir.
him.
I will, sir. Thank you. He's our producer, director, but he had
Thank
to
you.
be out of us today. Thank you. So I'll let you
That's
go.
nice. That's
Yes, sir.
keep well and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you very much for the
Thank
opportunity
you, sir.
you've done.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Doing is great. Keep it up, and we hope it will go places.
Amen.
So,
Amen. Amen.
all,
Thank you, sir. Have a good
thank
evening, sir. I'll call you after the
you.
show. Thank you. Okay,
Yes,
we'll excuse you now, sir. Thank you.
very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, everyone, for coming on the show. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you, everyone. Hope you had fun the way I had fun chatting with my MD, my former MD. I'm still using but don't mind me, my former MD, Mr. Wale Olaoye, the CEO of Halogen Group. It's an indigenous company, but it's one security stop for everyone. Security management, risk management. They do with all of those things. And he shared his journey with us. He had his high moment, he had his down moment, and he came back up again. And by the grace of God, he discovered a lot about himself when he was in his down moment. He met Christ, he learned the principles of life to prepare, to learn to humble yourself, know who you are as a person. And it worked well for him. He got recommendations to get bigger jobs because he did somebody else's job better. What are you doing right now? Are you working for yourself or you're working for someone? Whatever your hands find doing, do it well. Like I like what Mr. Paul said last week. If you had to do anything, if you want to do it bad, the energy of doing it bad, why don't you just use it and do it well? It's the same time, the same process. Why run away from the process when the process will give you the success that you need? And that's the reason for this show, to share the process story with everyone. The success and the story and the fame and the glory that you see. There's a process behind it. These guys didn't just come from the blue, the blues. They didn't come from the moon. They had their stories, they had their journeys. They are not superheroes, they are humans like us, but they had the tenacity to stay in the game and to be focused. And with the grace and the mighty hand of God, they scale through. You are going to scale through. You will scale through. Just hold on. Keep thriving. Keep doing what you love to do. Be grateful for what you're doing. If it's somebody else you're working for, work with your whole heart. And at the end, the Lord will reward you in Jesus' name. Please have a wonderful evening. Keep safe. My love to your family and have a blessed night. Good night, everyone. God bless you.